Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be featuring a Rado, and this one I'm quite excited at really because I've always wanted to get hold of one of these Captain Cooks and I'm so glad I have. This model we have in front of us is a special edition and I'm probably going to make a terrible pronunciation of the name, Rittig Rorschach model. And yeah, I say it comes in a different pouch with different straps, but I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. I've got to say a big thank you first to Ryan and the team over at Francis Gaye for allowing me to review this watch. They're a great bunch of guys down there. If you're based in the Midlands, feel free to pop in, have a drink, look at some watches with them. If you're further afield, give them a call, and I dare say Ryan or a member of the team will sort you out a very good price and get the watch posted out to you ASAP. So, I say this is one of the Rado Captain Cook range of watches. Now I say that because there is a whole host of different variations to this watch, not only in size, dial colour, bezel colour and so forth. You can even have a different variation of materials. You can have stainless steel, you can have ceramic. There are plenty of options with this watch. I believe this was actually first introduced in their range in the early 60s. And they've kind of brought it back to life, and to be fair, I'm glad they did because I think this watch is a bit of a star, to be fair. Now, talk about sizes first. We have got a 42mm case size on this, only just over 12mm thick, and 49 lug to lug, and a bracelet size of a strange 21mm. So there you go. Let's zoom in though on that dial because that is where this watch just comes alive really. The whole frontage of this watch, there's so much going on, but it works. That's what I like about it. The dial. So not only do we have this rather interesting, cool looking green on the dial, but when you look at the dial, you can't help but notice it seems to fall off at the edges. And it gives it such an interesting play on the light. And I just find that you keep looking at this watch and just noticing different angles on it. And I just really like that about it. The hour markers, big, fat, full of lume. I wouldn't say it's the brightest lume, but it does seem to last well and it's easy to read. The date wheel is also interesting in that it's actually written in red text, which is quite unusual, but kind of works. The actual hands, very well polished, full of lume. I even like the font they used on the Captain Cook and a 300-meter water resistant and the Swiss made at the bottom there. And then at the top, just above the Rado sign, you have this strange anchor. Now, it's a bit of a strange one actually, but it does rotate. I wouldn't say quite so freely. You have to give it a tiny shake and then you see which, what I believe it's for is to indicate which way is down. Obviously, it's an anchor, so it makes sense. So if you're swimming, I dare say it, this could have a function, and it's also different. And I like things on let's face it, mainstream watches which make them a little bit different, and I think it gets at with the slope dial and that little anchor there. But what we also have is this gorgeous crystal on top, and being that it's very beveled, it's got this big beveled edge there and it's slightly domed, you get more distortion, which then greater increases this kind of roll-off effect on the dial, and you can't help but kind of, keep looking at it in different lights and you keep seeing something different. And then as we come past that, we have this ceramic bezel insert, but again, it's slightly different in that it's actually concave, so it falls towards the dial, and it gives it, there's a lot going on the frontage of this watch, but it just seems to work well. Now, on about the bezel, we have a nice coin edged to it there, which allows you to purchase it quite easy. And as for Bezel Action, listen to this. It is a joy to use. It is so positive. No backplay. It is absolutely it just feels great in the hand. You can't help but turn it and go, oh, that's nice. So anyway, I like that. Then the case, we have a polished case here. it's got a nice curvature to it, so it does, it makes it sit well on the wrist, I find. And being that it's only 12mm thick, it does sit really snugly on the wrist, and I do like that. As we come around here, the crown is signed. It is a screw down crown. Say this is a 300-meter diver after all. So they've done just a really nice job on that. As we come out to the bracelet feels nice. Plenty of articulation in there. No problem at all. No sticky spots as such. Should point out the end links are fantastic. There's zero play in those end links, and I like that a lot, because some watches I find, I think I've got a bit of a cellophane still there. Some of the watches I find when you've got play on them, it's a bugbear. Now, the clasp is a little bit more interesting on this, that it's a butterfly style. It's uneven, so it's not shorter on this side, but as it closes, it is only the thickness of the actual bracelet, which I think is great. You do have the center piece, which is slightly thicker, but it is actually beveled at the edges, and it doesn't sound much, but when that's against your wrist, it helps being beveled. Now, as for micro adjustment, we do have half links, so that's all you get on this one, but it is nice, signed as well. Now, one of the kind of interesting quirks on this, the quick release system here, you have your standard kind of spring bars where you pull them both on each side and they can come out, but they have a groove running down the bracelet, which I just think is a bit strange. I've never seen before, but I think it allows you just then to replace the spring bars or change this onto the other strap, which the watch does come with, being this a special edition and comes with its own rather nice little pouch. The case back is a solid case back. We do have engraving, and it is a screwed down one. So it's, not really much. It's nice. I do like a transparent case back, but that's just me, but I understand not everyone does. The actual movement in this watch, I did put it on the time grapher earlier, and it performed valiantly. No problem at all. After all, this is a chronometer spec watch, so I say it's going to run within the +6 -2, but this did better than that anyway. Now, the actual movement they use inside is part of the group's, I think it's the Powermatic 80 movement basically, but I say chronometer spec. That is based on the ETA 2824, but they lower the beat rate down to give it its rather impressive 80 hours of power reserve. So, you've got a decent lot of power reserve on this. I'll show this on my wrist. Let's zoom out a little bit. I'm wearing an Alpinist on a Zin bracelet, which I modded to fit. So there we go. Now, my wrist size is a 7¼ and this, I say, 42mm watch. One thing I should point out, look how long the bracelet is. Some watches I know people with big wrists kind of struggle with. This one's got so much on there. And there you go. It looks really nice. And look how slim it looks. It just really looks compact on the wrist. So I like this. So much so, I'm actually thinking of buying one. So we'll have to see. I think maybe some watches of mine will have to move before I can afford it. So anyway, any questions about the watch, please feel free to give me a message in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys at the next video. Stay safe out there. All the best. Bye.